I literally recorded a whole episode and then we found out that it didn't work. So here we are again. We're gonna do it again. Round two. Maybe God will give me something better. You know what? I'm gonna pray. Holy Spirit, give me something better. What if that was my prayer? That would actually be really funny. No, God, we thank you for today. We thank you for who you are. We thank you that you are the one thing in our lives that we burn for, that we long for, God. And I just ask that as we have this conversation today, um, that you would just bring words to our hearts to help us grow, to help us cultivate healthier relationships with you, healthier relationships with others, and would you give us insight into your heart for us and your heart for others today? And it's in your name that I pray. Amen. And I should just start out with a prayer. I don't know why I didn't do that. I feel unholy. Like I've not been starting out with prayer. Today I got asked again if we could talk about dating again, and I personally didn't really want to do it. That's just a real talk moment. I don't really love talking about dating, but people seem to like when I talk about it, even though it's real savage. But I'm going to talk about it again and we're going to go over some things. I just want to start out with this though, that one of the major reasons why I don't love to talk about dating is because I live a life for Jesus, and I truly believe that this view of marriage and relationships has taken away from the beauty of who Jesus is. That it's almost become a god or an idol in the church. And I'm at this point where I just want people who are more in love with him above all to realize that this relationship is the priority. And if it becomes the priority, everything else in your life will come forth and be beautiful. You will bear good fruit because you have this relationship that you steward. You can do marriage and dating really well because you have loved Jesus well and you spend time with him. You read your word and you bear good fruit. That is why I don't love to talk about this subject, because I'm like, you know what? When you realize at the end of the day that this relationship is more important than anything else, those ones are great. Those are beautiful. But you realize that you don't do anything else well without him. And so my eyes are so locked on Jesus that I just get annoyed sometimes when I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna talk about dating again. Like, when can we just get through our heads that, like, personally, I'm good to just lay on the floor and sing "Worthy is the Lamb" for 2 hours. Like, that's just how I feel personally. And some people might be like, I could never do that. But that's where my relationship has taken me. So that's why that is my opinion. That's how I start this out when it comes to dating. So don't think that I'm just cynical. I just want people whose eyes are locked on Jesus, and then if that happens, it happens. Okay, but I got asked to talk about that, and so that's how I'm prefacing this with my personal issues with dating in the church. But I've watched the way that the church has handled dating, and it's not healthy. I've watched my siblings; they were a part of like the I Kiss Dating Goodbye, and what's the other one? Something about waffles, and the girls are like something and boys are like spaghetti, and they're like, I don't even know. It's just like two, like, whatever. I don't even know. Somebody from early 2000s that read that book, like, tell me what the name of that book is. But it just like brought these weird ideas of dating and being a Christian and loving Jesus. And I'm watching, well, we watched everybody go, that doesn't work, right? And so then everybody picked up who else did that book? Michael Todd. Then everybody started picking up Michael Todd's book. Then we're like, oh, this is gonna be the holy grail, because the Bible doesn't really talk about dating, right? I just don't care. I'm just gonna be so real with you. I'm not a big self-help book person. I don't really like it. Like, you give me a Francine Rivers book, I could read that bad boy in like a week, maybe actually days. I remember one time I read A Voice in the Wind. If you know Francine Rivers, I read A Voice in the Wind in 8 hours. I was cruising, and we were on a road trip, and I was like, everybody's like, Gabrielle, like, you gotta get out of the car to go to the bathroom. I was like, no, like, bring my food. Like, I'm just gonna keep reading this book. Like, if you've never read a Francine Rivers book, too good. But I I just personally like watched all of these things happen with these books and everybody being like whatever. But I really love that people have gotten to the point of like, I don't want to say deconstructing them, because deconstruction, but I would just say like almost finding the truth of what God speaks and then figuring out if they agree and align with him first. And I love that. I really love that a generation has taken what people preach and things like that and put it under a microscope. I think it's healthy, but the microscope has to be the Bible. But I love that we've kind of taken a lot of things and tried to analyze and figure it out and not just taken it for fact. I love that. So that's kind of what's happened with dating, and it's kind of become a mess of everybody trying to figure it out, of like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know what's happening. And some people have jumped on it and made a lot of money, and some people have really tried to help people do it healthily, and some people just shouldn't be talking about it. But that's just personally how I feel. But when it comes to dating, I've just watched, there's this one thing that I've noticed recently that I don't love, and it's called kingdom marriages. And I'm not saying I'm not about the kingdom. I'm not saying that I'm not about a kingdom marriage. I'm just saying that I just think that this has become the new astrology or the new horoscope. That's what we've done with like prophetic words when it comes to marriage and dating and things like that, right? And this whole kingdom marriage thing, I'm watching people eat it up, and I'm going, wait, do you realize you're doing the same exact thing as the girl over there who reads her horoscope every day? That you wake up every day and go, okay, what did you get from God? Okay, you should tell me. I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it. How do you know that that's a word from God? How do you know? How do you know that that's the person, that that's the voice that is mandated to give that word? How? Some of you guys are going to get real triggered today. I just think that we've taken these things from random people on the internet and went, well, this one lady said that there are a lot of us that are going to there's 226 of us that are going to get married in the next year. So until she says the 226 have gotten married, I'm just going to believe. That's a horoscope. That is astrology. Like, they are going hand in hand, and you guys are eating it up, and you're calling it Jesus. That's an idol. That is sacrilegious. Like, I am not trying to be this person, but I'm going to say this. When it says in the Bible to not awaken love until it is time, I truly believe that it's also talking about it's not time but it's not time to step into searching for that until he says it is. And some of you guys might be like, well, I don't agree with that. You don't have to. But there are those of you guys that are not ready for marriage. You're not even ready to date. How do I know? Because you don't even have identity. If you don't know who you are, how are you going to find somebody to date? You're just going to date anybody that makes you feel good? You're just going to date anybody that says you're pretty? I can tell you you're pretty. A little kid can tell you you're pretty. That's illegal. But those are all things that can happen. But if you don't have identity, then you don't even know what you're looking for. If you're not rooted in Jesus, then you don't even know what you want. If you're not bearing fruit, how do you know what fruit you actually want to eat? How do you even know? How do you even know that bearing good fruit should be love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness? How do you even know that? You don't, because you don't have identity. You're not rooted. You're not bearing fruit. That verse has hit me so deeply. Like, the Holy Spirit brought it to my recollection of, do not awaken love until it is time. And there are people that are producing content that is awakening love inside of some of you guys, and you're eating it up. And God's going, that's not the season we're in. That's not the season we're in. We're building right now. We're building the foundation. We're building the house so that there is something for the one you love to come into. There is something for you to build first, and then we're going to get to that. But will you let him bring the season forth, or are you trying to will the season forth? You can't will a season that he hasn't said is already meant to come. You can't. I've watched people try to do it. I've tried to do it. Be like, okay, I'm just gonna, you know what, God, it's time. We're going into the season. I'm done with this season. Let's start a new one. Can't do that. You know what ends up happening? You just wander around in that season even longer, frustrated, angry, ticked off. It's just what happens. You cannot will forth a season that he has not brought forth. What does it say in Ecclesiastes? Isn't it Ecclesiastes that says, uh, why did I just literally blank? Oh my goodness, I just blanked. Oh, there's a time to. Oh, man, now I gotta get my Bible. Literally, how am I not remembering this? Like, but it just talks about how there is a time for each and every step. There's a time for each thing, right? A time to mourn, a time to dance. I got that right. But it just goes forth and is telling you that there are processes, there are times when God is bringing things forth. You can't will it, you can't force it. And I just think that there are those of you that have gotten into relationships that you thought it was time for, and it's not, and you're now stuck in something that you know is not healthy. But you're scared to get out because you're like, who else is going to love me? I can tell you who else will. His name is Jesus. How do I know? He died on a cross for your sin and rose again. That's how I know. When it says, for God so loved the world, he sent his one and only son. For God so loved you. That is who loves you. That is who calls you beautiful. That is who calls you his. Man, we've just awakened things before it's time. That's why I'm over. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know. I want to say this too. There are those of you guys that are like actually in the season where it's like time to get married, it's time to be in a relationship, but nobody's assertive. Like, I have brothers, so I got to call him out on this. But I just remember when we were in high school, my brother was like super popular, like played football, played basketball, like every girl was in love with my brother. I was the girl that like yes, I was popular, but I was the girl that was like like girls would try to be my friend so that they could get to my brother, and I can see through that so quickly. But I just remember at one point my brother was like, well, this girl really likes me and this girl really likes me, but I like this girl, but I don't know. And I was like, will you just freaking be assertive? And he was like, what do you mean? And I said, why don't you go communicate to these two girls over here that you actually don't like them? Would you actually have a conversation and actually care about their heart above all to let them know, like, hey, this isn't going to work. Be nice about it. And then go and be assertive with the girl you actually really like and like be like, hey, I really like you. I would like to do this. Watched him shift the way that he did it, and now he's married. Like, but he's always been assertive from that point. Like, I just had to tell him from a female perspective of like, go be assertive because that is attractive. Like somebody who can step forth into something and be like, I'm gonna do this. But like, I feel like there's a lot of times where I'm like watching guys that just, man, they're blowing it before they even walk up to you. They're just like, I get it. I get it. Like, it's nerve wracking. It is. But it takes a boldness and a courageousness to actually have the conversation and the confidence to do it, which is very commendable and respectable. But I'm just tired of people just not being assertive. Like, somebody just have the conversation, just say something. But I will say that I know singleness in the church has become rather annoying. Like, I actually get not even low key, high key annoyed when people are like, so when are you gonna get married? So do you even want to be in a relationship? Like, you need to go start talking to people. You need to da-da-da. I'm like, can you just freaking leave me alone? Like, what if you just left me alone and like me and God figured this out? Like, what if I just loved Jesus, right? If I just loved Jesus and I never got married, would that be enough for you? Because it's enough for him. So I don't know why you feel like you need to tell me what I need. This is me. This is me personally. But I just feel like there's a lot of people that, one, feel very shameful because they're not married because the church has prioritized marriage and family above those that are single. And I want to say I'm sorry about that. It just sucks. It's so freaking dumb. I just think there needs to be as much as an emphasis on you as there is anywhere else. You shouldn't feel invalidated because somebody isn't standing next to you, because you having Jesus with you should be enough. And it is. But I also know that, man, they're like, I can be real about this, but they're like, I don't want to be mean, but there are some of you guys that are sitting and sorry, somebody just texted me, but there are some of you guys that are sitting and there's just nobody. There's no one. You're looking around and you're like, Gabriella, I cannot find a single man that I would even think about dating. I have met them all. None of them will work for me. Yeah, they love Jesus, but like personality wise, this is not going to work. I'm not attracted to them. One, do not settle. Can I just please say that again? Do not settle. Like, you do not just settle for some guy that you do not think is attractive. That does not work. That will never work because one day you're going to roll over and look at them and be like, oh, do not do that. None of you. Do not settle. But I really believe that for you, like, you're sitting in this season and you're like, I don't think God's going to bring anybody, but I promise you that God can. If God can speak the universe into existence, he can bring somebody that you're meant to be with into your life. It just might not look the way you thought it would. And so I just say all these things because I walked through it. I've walked through it where, man, it was just a barren desert. It wasn't a barren desert. Like, there was guys, but I just didn't like any of them, and I never will. But I think that there are those of you guys that have gotten to this place of almost like anger and loneliness where you're like, God is never going to bring me what I deserve or what I deserve, but what he believes is good. Like, I don't think goodness is for me because that's not going to happen. And I truly believe that's the enemy going, God's not good. He won't bring you that. How could he bring you that? You're in the middle of a desert. He's not going to bring you what you think he will. And you're angry and you're getting bitter. And I just want to say this, that he is a good father. How do I know he is a good father? Because he sent Jesus to die on the cross for each and every one of us. If that's not good, I don't know what goodness is. I just believe that he who can speak the world into existence is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all our expectations. All of it. So if you're the girl or you're the guy that's like, there is nobody, I want to challenge you to ask God to bring somebody again. And some of you guys are like, I am tired of going to God to ask again. Do you know how many times Samuel's mom prayed for a baby before she got Samuel? Go read about Abraham and Sarah before they got Isaac. How long did she wait? Some of you guys are like, I have to wait like 200 years. No, what I'm just saying is, will you keep asking? Will you keep believing and contending? Will you? I also want to say this. I am really tired. I'm really tired of the Wells. Well, they said they'd go to church with me. Well, they used to be a Christian. If I have to hear that one more time, like, I'm actually gonna lose my mind. Lose my mind. Like I said before, I have friends that say they love Jesus but are in the club every single weekend. Like, the well is not enough. If their main priority is not Jesus, then that is not somebody that is for you. If you're living a life unto him and then you make a compromise there, where else will you not, well, where else will you keep making compromises? Because if you can make one compromise, you can make multiple. And before you know it, you're farther away from him than you've ever been. Compromising when it comes to relationship, when you are on your kingdom assignment to do what God has put you on the earth for, is never going to work out well. It won't. I'm just tired. Please stop compromising. I'm begging you. Like, how do you stop compromising? You let this be the priority. You let it be the priority. above all, above all, I'm just tired. I'm just saying. But there really are, like, I'm going to bring it back to this. There really are some of you guys that are not meant to be in a relationship until you can walk in the confidence and boldness of being a son and a daughter. You're not meant to. And when you walk in that confidence, it keeps things that are not meant to be in your life away. There are things that can still get through. There are people that can still get through that confidence and boldness. But the intimidation factor that you have because you are a son and daughter, different level. Different level. Your identity protects you from so much and you have no idea. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to bring up. I hope that I remember everything. I'm trying to, like, what's really bad is because we already recorded that other episode is I'm trying to remember if I said it in this episode or if I said it in the last one. So I don't know. Man, don't awaken love before it's time. I'm so freaking tired. I'm tired. If you want dating advice and you have no identity and you come to me, I will tell you to run to the altar, not to me. Go meet Jesus, and then let's have a conversation. But, all right, that's all I got this week. I know there's probably going to be like 1,000,001 questions now in my inbox, but this is life, right? I hope you guys have a good one. Hope it's been a good week. I'm going to go outside because it's like 85 degrees today. I'm like super pumped. I'm going to play some tennis. I'm so pumped. But have a good one, guys.